Back to work. Wow. Yeah, we'll just try. Not try. I am going to. I'm going to focus on tuning out. Anything suggested on YouTube with what's happening in the local news, because I don't want to know what they're up to. I'm gonna let the technology deal with that. I'm gonna look at. I'll look at old things that whenever I was a kid that biologically trained and conditioned myself and other people to accept our current conditions. Okay. But I'm not going to look at anything new that's maintaining the status quo through the propaganda because I don't want to know. I know it's fundamentally wrong. I know it uses lie through economics and technology to manipulate that lie to fundamentally do wrong. So I don't need to know anymore. I mean, I was like, okay, it looks like this is what they're doing. He's wrong. I don't know. It's wrong. That's all that matters. Is I'm wrong. All that matters is I'm right. I'm good. I'm truthful. They're liars and they're bad and they're wrong. That's all that matters. Okay. It doesn't mean like with Amy. You didn't catch me because you were wearing the blue dress instead of the brown dress, and it happened at Denny's instead of um, uh, at uh, at Golden Corral or something. Basically that's what it was. No, you're wrong. As long as I didn't have the whole story straight. And then she'd turn up pregnant again and go, okay, I was wrong. Shit, here we go again. You went and had sex with this idiot leg lifter at a bar, and now we've got another kiddo to feed, and it's already hard for us economically because of these assholes to take care of the ones we have already got. Right? And I love kids, but I want kids to, just last December, I met a girl. She took a liking to me, said she loved me, but she didn't know the meaning of the word. I remember her and the boy and the girl and the girl and the boy. Did they have all the things that a young kid should have before it gets too old? And most of what it needs is time with its parents. Okay, what a child needs is time with its parents. And in this society, that's one thing it does not get. Okay, and the one thing we need to embrace the beauty of a holy covenant and eternity is time with our spouse and our children, right? I ain't got time to do no studies once I get out of class, and I don't care where the river flows, and I don't too busy thinking about my baby, and I ain't got time for nothing else, right? Ooh, ooh. When me and Law were together, there were a lot of good times, where it was, oh, okay, I love her. She's gonna marry me. She's got my babies. We're gonna, there was a lot of good times with that, a lot of misery because I was separated by the military and their economic bullshit. But as far as me and her when we were together, it was good. Okay. Me and Rocky, because of the tribalism, it sucked. I liked the kisses. I liked the thing. I hated I hated the Tony and Maria aspect. That sucked. And that she wasn't resistant to it, and I was. And I'm like, why are you having sex with me if you think like your family? With Tammy Tam, look at the baby. Well, what is it? It's not black, it's not white. Why are you having sex with me if you think like them? That was frustrating. I'd rather be going out with Tammy. Here, you go out with Keith, he's black. Okay. Well, you guys can be on time at the restaurant, do everything the way you want to do it. Me and Tammy would be like, what? Boy, the baby's cute, right? So, you know how that is. Yes, it's hard to belong to someone else when the right one comes along. And that only happens when we're out of balance, when we're out of harmony, right? When we're forced into relationships because of we're not on our own time. We're in economic conflict, you know? Stick on your own time. Stay with your own time. Don't give your time to someone else who doesn't appreciate your time, right? Okay. Now, there is a correctness in knowing that we all got a ringing in the sheaves. The religious, everybody, let's go down to that river to pray. Go ringing in the sheaves, you know. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find the way, show that all that I was do to live with you someday, Like on that Real Housewives of Mormon Wives, when the one little couple with the little blonde girl and her husband, and they took the kids to the farm, and the little girl was like, she was just bored to do this. I've been doing this. My ancestors, and my descendants will, we will be out there with the goats and the pigs, and we will do what we need to make sure, and I will have a handsome husband, and I'll be cooking in the kitchen, and he'll be he's hooked. Obviously, she did that on purpose. Obviously, right? From the Jungle Book, right? At the end of the Jungle Book with Mowgli and the girl, right? And so, because we cease to exist as human beings unless we're doing things in balance, harmony, and understanding. And now the mind is lying to the soul. Okay? Even if it is tangible for a selfish human being to provide the soul for a cow. Okay? The cow is a cow for a reason, and the human is a human for a reason. And if something's wrong with the genetic splicing, which I don't, guys, don't play God. Okay? Don't try to figure out, what's happening with the soul. Just understand that there's consistencies, like Saladin was doing before he was so rudely interrupted by the papacy, right? Of his family. Allah decides, let's go eat. Would you force your daughter to be raped into a marriage? Or you would allow Tony and Maria to choose who they're going to have children with? What are the babies? They're human beings, right? They're not black. They're not white. No, they're tan and they're really cute. They're cute. Oh my gosh, you're cute, right? And so, and because me and that one girl were talking about, because I was a shepherd mix, and she said, I got a shepherd mix. And I said, he's a mix. He was a mix between German and Australian. He lived to probably be 17 to 18 years old. Okay. He didn't have the intense arthritis of a German shepherd, and he didn't have the intense cataracts of the Australian shepherd from the inbreeding. Okay. So the legs started to go bad, but he was like 18. And the eyes, same thing, but he was 18. So when Zeke was, he lived lots longer than a purebred German shepherd and a purebred Australian system, and had a lot less troubles with the genetic issues that they have through human forced breeding. So that shows that human forced breeding is a bad idea. Allah decides, let's go eat. Okay. Now, that's not to say that if, that you have German shepherds and they breed and you get lots of German shepherds, so you know what I'm saying. Okay. But the Westminster Kennel Dog Show, that is such horseshit, and that you guys are still doing that shit, and it's even worse than it was before. You people are disgusting. You breeders suck. You breeders suck. Live and let live. Let her be, let her be. Letters, the letter between letter A and letter C, letter B. You breeders, no, you suck. Let it be. Okay. Monkey butts, right? So, Antone, Maria, Antone, right? And so that's where your issues are at, is that the mind is lying to the soul. Okay. All right. And the corruption of the mind lying to the soul leads to the cow being God. Leads to a person becoming head of cabbage. Okay. The molecular structures and the consistencies, the case might be more of an animal being a human like Brother Bear than a human becoming a cabbage. Right? The sequence is required, and the genetics and the essence for the life form would be so forth. You know what I mean? Zuckerman's famous pig. Okay, so there would be too much of a stretch, for something that provides life for this structure to then provide life for a structure that's, Spider-Man. That would be radically not, and then the transition between us would be radically. See, so we have animalistic characteristics, yes. Okay, but you got to understand that the mind is lying to the soul. That the human is the human for a reason, and the animal is the animal. They serve the cow, right? Okay, and so we can understand through anthropology, through stories, through transitions, through eternity. Okay, all right, that the human being is a special creation to reflect the natural laws provided for life, for the life of sacrifice. It's in the Revelation. We've had this. This is consistent. This isn't a new phenomenon that I just made up to stop all the fun you're having with science and killing each other because it feels good, Mama. Right? I like it. It's fun. I'm beat the shit out of that little asshole if he doesn't stop. Okay, or he did. Okay. I beat the shit out of every special forces member in the entire world. Every Krav Maga master, every umpteenth degree black belt thing. I think it's funny, okay, that a guy just exercises regularly to be healthy and enjoys, too busy thinking about my baby and I ain't got time for nothing else. Because I want, yeah. And then Johnny from Cobra Kai would have got his ass kicked. Okay. Yes. Okay. Not Ralph Macchio. No. I was the best athlete and the best dancer just about everywhere I went. Okay. It wasn't without it trying. I would go out, I would watch the guys on TV and I would see things they could do and I'd go out and try to do it myself. And 9 times out of 10 could. Johnny Weissmiller, crawling across the tree, coming down the house, coming off the house, doing all the little crazy things that kids do when they watch the crazy people on TV do what they do. And a lot of them were not good ideas, but it was television. And my dad, if he'd have saw me, he'd have kicked my ass within an inch of my life. And I'd have thanked him for it. Like me, Noah, what the hell are you doing? TV. Goddamn TV. Superman. And Ray Andrews with that. How'd you get that scar on your thing? Well, I put a towel around my neck and jumped off the couch and cracked it, and I had to get stitches off the coffee table. Your mom was upset, I bet. Fuck, yeah, I was trying to be Superman, all right? Well, I did the same thing with the couch and the pillows on the big, sectional sofa being Walter Payton, but I made sure I landed on the couch, right? And we had adobe walls, so I didn't cause any problems with the furniture or the wall. And it was from my Uncle Bob's furniture store that they got because it had smoke stains on it because of a fire. And so he gave it to him real cheap, but it was a nice couch. It was well built. It was well made. It wasn't cheapo. So I could run and jump on it and, and dive and have the one section was the goal line and dive across and pretend to jackknife into the end zone just like, Walter Payton. Okay. And wouldn't cause any problems. Did I do it when his dad was home? Oh, hell no. I got my ass kicked. Okay. Just like Johnny Weissmiller didn't walk across the trees to get on the roof when dad wasn't home because I'd got my ass kicked. I knew better. Steve-O, Johnny Knoxville. What happened? Oh, I was doing Johnny Weissmiller across it. Which most kids would probably end up physically disabled for life or even dead. And that's how nature weeds through that's how nature weeds through the thing. No, we just need less Johnny Weissmiller and more common sense and reason. And, so Richard Dawkins as Stephen Hawking can make it through the Wonder Years too. And since we're not competing and fighting over the hot blonde, Allah decides, let's go eat. Right? And since we're not being assholes like Kurt and Sheldon's dad, okay, we won't have the bullies, taping duct tape around people's genitalia and doing all those horrible things that aggressive, abusive people do to make people say, I'm the HNIC. I'm the one who, you see what I'm saying? I'm the head narcissist in charge. Right? So you guys got like me and the Brian and Duffo and Chris talked about, right? And, Duffo, when we talked about, the woman that you meet, that you can see your unborn children in her eyes, his eyes just went, yeah. That's what every man that loves women and children wants. When I said it to him, he was, yeah. Our eyes met and he went, yeah. And Brian was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I agree. Chris was smiling and going, I'm not sure. They've been mean. They fuck you over. But the other two were going, yeah, that's what I want. And Chris was going, well, maybe, but I'm not sure. Well, Chris is right to be skeptical because these people aren't giving us the Lord's Prayer. And the other guys, fuck that. Let's just take the Lord's Prayer and let's, And Chris, well, I can live with that. Okay, then I'll meet her. And then when you meet her, look at your eyes, Chris. Ah, damn. It did it to me too. Your Twitter paid it, just like on Bambi, right? Yeah, and it's good. It's a good thing, all right? When women are raised to be faithful the way I raise women, and she looks at you and you look at her, and then your eyes lock and and then you don't have to be a little running bear and white dove and have the raging river pull you down because your tribes fought together and now they'll always be together in the happy hunting ground. That's bullshit. They're full of shit. Mormon Church is full of bullshit. Tashina's not waiting for you in the clouds at 17. When she was 17, that was a very good year. It ain't gonna happen. No. We have the life of sacrifice for a reason. If you want to meet Rosie down at the schoolyard, the Queen of Corona, when you're 17, you're going to have to maintain what's necessary for life is eternal, grace is infinite, and holy covenants. And there's nothing wrong with getting old. Okay, what's wrong is trying to clone yourself and kill everybody else off so you can be the best fucker in the history of fucking. That's gross. That's disgusting. And one of the best parts of life that we steal from ourselves and each other is, oh, very young, will you leave us this time? You're only dancing on this earth for a short while, right? It's one of the best parts. It's the most magical, it's the logical song. When I was young, then I was taught to be clinical. Stuff. And so, last night on Star Trek, they had the one with the two planets that were at war and mass murdering each other to maintain their population through scientific experiments and maintaining it through delusions of human authority. And they couldn't come to terms with their rationale because they couldn't use religion to apply physics properly in the scientific community in the end of the 1960s. Makes sense. Yeah, Jiddu Krishnamurti. You do know this is genocidal. What are you talking about, Mr. Krishnamurti? It's like, wow, I think Jiddu should have wrote a script for Star Trek. I'm just kidding around. Maybe he used one of his books to write one. Yeah, I don't know. But so maybe it happened. I don't know. We'll look it up. But then they had the next one where the spores came, the animals died, but they were because the plants would sustain them, right? That vegans wrote that one. I know. But Earl, so as far as life of sacrifice goes, we know that on planets when it's predator prey, that it comes out of balance and needs a mass extermination event to stop predator prey from throwing off the balance of the solar system. Okay. But we also know when there are humanoid, Homo sapien type physical, that they have the capacity to maintain an ecosystem through balance and harmony and understanding without becoming predator prey, but becoming the gracious good shepherd. Okay. We know just by studying eternity, studying the planet, studying ecology, studying biology, studying, everything. Okay. So we know Muhammad's correct. The human is the human for a reason and the cow is the cow for a reason. And that when you eliminate a lot of the large predators that can hunt down and eat your children while you're trying to sleep or farm, okay, they don't need to be reintroduced. You don't need to reintroduce wolves back in the thing to balance the. That's what we got Ted Nugent for. That's what we got Tyler Sheridan for. That's what we got half the cast that goes to Sturgis and fights the people at Sturgis for Tyler Sheridan TV shows for. Right? What are you doing? We're going hunting. Okay. The Ankids are similar. They like to go hunting. My dad. Okay. The father of the gracious good shepherd. Okay. Yeah, likes to go hunting. His son did not like to go hunting. I was like John Boy. But if the bear cars are killed dead, that's one dead bear. Can't you understand? We all know that. Da-na-na-na-na-na. And I can understand John Walton. I just see it as food on the table. And the girls, yeah, Emily needs a turkey sandwich. Yes. And chicken three cheese quesadillas. There you go. Season it up, cut it up, And so when you teach women to do that and they understand they have to do that, you're not being a brute. You're just maintaining balance and harmony in nature. That's why we refer to it as blood offerings. And saw it as a sacred time, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, Passover, yada, yada. Okay. And you have each season has different things that you can harvest, and also knows that you're going to have to go through the herd and get through the next section of what's happening with the herds. So it's just balance, harmony, and understanding. It's being a gracious good shepherd. Okay. So the mind is lying to the soul because it's selfish. And then when you have people Kaku, when he's saying you have this and that, when you have people at the scapegoat and the positive leader and the negative diamond, that's a direct result of selfishness. Like Joseph Smith said in his gospels that were corrupted by corporations, that, our celestial bodies in the future, when we are living the faith of Psalms and Proverbs, okay, will have less deformities and less extremities, extreme conditions, less obesity, and oh my gosh, she's ugly and she's fat and he's ugly and stupid, and less, oh, you're such a genius, you're so gorgeous, you're so much better looking than everybody else, tall and tan and dark and lovely. It's extremist conditions that cause these discrepancies, and they're discrepancies. They're not superiorities and inferiorities. They're discrepancies because of selfishness, because the mind is lying to the soul. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. Tell me of one more philosophy and I'll knock your teeth fucking out. Okay. And then everybody will know, hey, well, you're a cute kid. What happened? Oh, you tried to sell philosophy to the gracious good shepherd? You deserve it. Don't mess with his Job. He's got his staff for a reason. He's like Moses. Moses was like Job. Okay. It's my Job. Okay. What? You want the mind to lie to the soul. Bam! Okay. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. Okay, I won't tell you about philosophy or fortune cookies ever again, and I don't want to hold food hostage in a restaurant to feel important or how in a hotel. There you go. And so stop dancing because you're holding food hostage to be a multimillionaire or a billionaire. There you go. Thank you. Try to sell me another car. I've already kicked Shaquille's ass so many times. And I would have done it just as easily on the basketball court. I wasn't Hank Gathers. I like Hank Gathers. Hank died trying to save his family from poverty because you gave him no other options. So it shows a lot of heart. So, Shaquille, he's got heart, just like Kevin Hart. They're just all dumb as a box of rocks. Okay. Thanks, Lopez. Okay. Do I think I'm going to meet Lopez and hang out with Lopez? That's entirely up to her if she can handle it. Can I handle it? If I can't, if she gets on my nerves, I'll tell her, hey, I love you, but, I don't want to dance 500 times in a row, and I don't want to do all that stuff. You want to go in the garden? Want to go do this? Want to watch the sunrise and the sunset? Want to hold hands and snuggle? Okay. I don't want everybody to watch me dance sexually and say I do it better than everybody else. That gets on my nerves. If you want to privately dance, we can, Tina Turner. But if not, I'll just keep my eyes. You just keep your eyes on the. You just keep your eyes on the wall. Think about the money. Okay, I love you.